Today we're going to talk about one of the cheapest ways to buy certain Space Marine kits in the UK, and that's the Warhammer 40k Conquest magazine. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy-focused 40k channel, where we're all about getting the most out of our miniatures on the tabletop, and also about getting the most miniatures on the tabletop in the first place. So today we're discussing the Warhammer Conquest magazine, a general overview for people who aren't as familiar with it or exactly how it works, and the fact that at the moment in the UK it is the single cheapest place to buy certain Space Marine kits. If you're interested in Redemptor dreadnoughts, attack bikes, Reivers, or Aggressors with flamers, then I highly advise that you stick around. I recently did a video on the cheapest 2000 point Space Marine army that you can buy, and a few people brought up the Conquest magazine, and rightfully so, as it is technically the cheapest way that you can buy certain things. There is limited availability to these things though, which is why I didn't mention it in that video. So Warhammer Conquest is a collecting and painting magazine brought out by Games Workshop in 2018. It's a weekly magazine, typically selling for £8 per issue, and frankly the magazines themselves are a little bit sparse in their content. It's nothing like a White Dwarf or anything, you just get a little bit of background on your miniatures, some painting and modelling advice, and instructions for assembling the miniatures that come with the magazine. For the vast majority of hobbyists, the miniatures are the main thing that you'd be after with this, and if you can find them, then you get some insanely good deals on some of the issues. We'll go through some of the best issues that you could possibly buy from Warhammer Conquest later in the video. Note that Warhammer Conquest is also the name of a card game of the same name. We're definitely talking about the magazine here, not the card game. It's made and distributed by Hatchet Parkworks, a magazine company that works with quite a lot of other big brands such as Marvel and things, and at present at the time of recording is available in the UK, Australia, Spain, Italy, France and Germany. They don't ship overseas, so it's not available in the US or Canada yet, so if you're over there, I'd take this video more of a heads up to absolutely be very on it with trying to pick up some of these if and when Warhammer Conquest makes its move over the Atlantic. Because of how good the deals are, they generally sell out incredibly fast. Overall, the magazine's issue run is designed to help people start and build up a collection, and it runs over 80 issues, so 80 weeks, a little bit over a year and a half's worth of content. Each of the normal issues costs £8 or €10, which means the overall price is round about £630 as the first two issues are heavily discounted. You could either subscribe to the magazine, meaning that you could pick up all the issues one by one as they come out, though at least in the UK that's now no longer an option. You can only start your subscription from ones right near the end, as they're getting towards the end of their run. You can no longer start from the very start, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame, as that's where a lot of the best deals are to be had. The other alternative, and the one that's piqued my interest recently in the UK, is that you can also buy issues directly from Hatchet Parkworks, and they have quite a lot of these £8 issues that are actually the best places to buy Warhammer 40k kits at the moment. I suspect that because they're getting to the end of their print run, they're now selling off the back issues that they hadn't sold already, so it might well be a case of when they're gone, and they're not ever coming back, but we can't be 100% certain of that. If they do have some more stock sometime, then I'd certainly be looking out to see if you can get more. They do limit you to only buying 2 of each issue when you buy it from the website, in a bit of an effort to stop people scalping them too badly, so I suspect they'd step in pretty hard if people try to buy literally hundreds of these copies, but for a personal collection you can certainly get a lot of value out of just getting 2 copies of any given issue. Going back to the subscription briefly, you can also get a premium option for the subscription, which means that you pay I think about £10 per issue, and you get a few extra bits including ring binders and things, but from what I've heard they're not particularly great over the cost of the standard one. If it is coming out new in your country, or might be in the future, then the standard subscription does come with some extras, such as I think that you get some plastic cutters and glue in the first few issues to help you assemble and paint your miniatures. So this is what you get over the entire collection of the Conquest magazine. It's frankly a pretty enormous amount of Space Marines and Death Guard, and also loads of terrain as well. And this isn't showing all the paints and things that you also get over the course of the subscription. If you wanted to drip feed into Warhammer 40k, then this would very quickly build you up with 2 pretty sizable armies of Space Marines and Death Guard over the course of a year and a half, and of course you could potentially resell anything that you weren't interested in. A few people seem to have done the maths on how much this costs from Games Workshop directly. It seems that the estimates vary around about £1,000 to £1,100, as some of them can be a little bit hard to attribute the value from, as some of them are sprues from Dark Imperium, or miniatures that just aren't available outside of this magazine. They're mainly easy build kits wherever they're available, but there's plenty of ones that just aren't available as easy build kits, such as the Repulsor Executioner or Plagueburst Crawler for example, where you very much get the full-fledged kit, printed in either blue or green plastic. So on the face of it does seem like a very good deal, £1,000 to £1,100 of stuff for £630 investment. Bear in mind though, if you did buy this through the discounters available in the UK, such as the excellent Element games that I have a link for down in the description, you would get the same amount of gear for something like £850 to £950, and if you are looking to save money on Warhammer in the UK, then really that's what you're comparing it to. So theoretically around about £200 to £300 worth of savings, but for me personally, I generally feel that I'd rather just buy the individual issues wherever possible and not go in on all of them. The thing is, out of all of that free stuff, a lot of what you're getting is miniatures that you might not have picked up anyway, and perhaps paints that you don't really have any interest in. So in terms of actual savings, it's not quite as convincing unless you pick up the individual issues that are very good deals. Of course, if you are subscribing, you do have to factor in the fun factor of receiving a magazine each week with some fun miniatures in. I think it is quite an entertaining way to get into and collect the hobby. Plus you do get the value of the magazines themselves if that's something you're interested in. A bit of background, some rules and ideas for playing games, and of course the hobby and painting instructions as well. As a new player, it's pretty decent stuff, but as a more experienced hobbyist, the magazines don't really interest me whatsoever. The only reason that I've bought some of these is because of the miniatures. That's why I chose to buy some of the individual issues myself, just to pick up some of the miniatures and paints that I needed. So let's have a talk about which issues you can buy currently and what the savings are. Bear in mind that this is at time of recording. In the UK at least, it seems that they've gradually been selling out. Most of the absolute best stuff has gone, but there's still plenty of good stuff left in my opinion. So one of the very best in my opinion is issue 11, which you can still buy 2 of straight off the Hatchet Park Works website. This is an £8 issue. It gets you 3 Flamestorm Aggressors, admittedly not the most competitive version, but this costs you £8 for a kit that Games Workshop sells for £20. If you want to flesh out your Space Marine army with some very cheap miniatures, and you could even potentially try and convert them to bolt storms if you fancied a bit of a project, then this is just a ridiculously good deal. I'll admit that I myself have picked up a couple of these. I suspect I'll probably get round to building and painting them at some stage, but even later down the line I suspect that you could probably resell these for even more than you bought them, so they're a bit of a no-brainer for me. Next, another one that's also available for sale, and I've picked up a couple of copies of, is issue 3 that contains 3 Reivers and a Leadbelcher paint. I personally get through quite a bit of silver paint, so I don't mind buying a couple of these extra spare, and again I know that Reivers aren't the most competitive thing in the world at the moment, particularly not with bolt pistols and combat blades, but they could still be used in fun games, and with the ever-changing nature of 8th edition in the future, there's every chance that they might get good. Issues 24 and 25, which you have to buy together to get the full kit, get you the Easy Build Redemptor. This one's currently on sale from Games Workshop at £25, the Conquest issues are £8 each, so £16 it currently beats out the discounters for buying you a Redemptor Dreadnought. Not by much, but it is still cheaper than they offer. I haven't picked up this one myself yet, as it's a bit more of a marginal discount, but I'll admit it was very tempting. Next we have issue 58, which is an attack bike. These ones are £17.50 from Games Workshop web store, about £14 from discounters, and £8 in Warhammer Conquest. Again, not the most competitive. These guys aren't Primaris as well, so might get superseded at some time, but still under half the general Games Workshop reselling price. Finally, my top pick for things that are actually available at the moment at time of recording are issues 27 and 28, which net you a Chaos Rhino for £16. £25 direct from Games Workshop, about $20 from the discounters in the UK, so you've got yourself a £16 Rhino here. I'm sure you could always get away with fielding it as a Loyalist one as well. I'm not sure if you get a Stormbolter with it, but you could probably convert one up and just don't glue the spikes on. Now we're moving into the issues that aren't available for sale at the moment, but if they ever come back into stock, or they are available in the country where you're living at the moment, if you are in one of the European ones or Australia, then these are the ones that I highly recommend picking up if you are thinking about buying the miniatures. Some of these are just absolute no-brainer deals, where I'm sure if you are buying these just literally to scalp and resell on the internet, there are crazy obvious profits to be made. That's probably one of the reasons why they're all already gone. The first 2 issues of Conquest that you see here were the crazy discounted ones. Issue 1 is about the best deal ever that I've seen for Games Workshop products. £1.99 for 3 paints, a paintbrush and 3 intercessors. This is just hilarity levels of saving. The paints are all worth more than £2 in themselves, so is the brush, and the Easy Build intercessors are worth £9. I was able to get hold of a couple of these when they came out, and they were certainly a good deal. If you ever see this in a shop, then it's pretty certainly worth picking it up. The Abaddon Black on its own is a paint that you almost certainly will use, and it's a decent discount just on that pot of paint. See all the rest of the stuff as extra. Issue 2 is also pretty great. 3 Plague Marines, a Death Guard paint, and some dice. The dice aren't the most valuable thing ever, but not bad to have. But £4 for the paint and the miniatures is another absolute no-brainer if you are collecting Death Guard. Moving on, we've got Lieutenant Calcius in issue 5. He is the unique miniature of the Conquest range and is a unique Primaris Lieutenant. Because he's a unique sculpt, I think that he resells for quite a lot online if you didn't want to keep him, so this is another issue that's definitely worth it. Issue 8 has a Primaris Librarian, and as a common theme with a lot of the Conquest issues, if you can get hold of them, they very much are the cheapest way to acquire certain Primaris characters, and also their equivalents in the Death Guard range. £8 for a £22.50 model is a bit of a good deal. Next, in issue 10 we have a Blight Hauler, not bad for a mini vehicle for £8. Issue 19 is great too, Lord Felthius and his Blight Lord cohort, an easy build Lord of Contagion and 3 Terminators that usually sells for a whopping £25, only for 8. Issue 29 has a Gravis Captain and a few random Primaris Marines, 32 has a cheap Primaris Apothecary, and 33 has heavily discounted Thermic Plasma Conduits. 34 is another decent one for the Death Guard. It has some of the characters from Dark Imperium available on their own for £8. And 35 and 39 are great discounts on Primaris characters, with the Chaplain and a regular Primaris Captain, both of which you can only buy through Games Workshop for over £20. Issue 41 to 42 has the Plague Burst Crawler, so £16 for a £40 model, pretty crazy. Issue 45 has a very cheap Scout Squad, and 46 is one of the best ones in the whole set, with the featured Bloat Drone and Lord of Contagion and some Plague Marines from Dark Imperium. It's pretty much a mini start collecting box for Death Guard for just £8. 47 has an £8 Land Speeder, £8 Typhus in 54, and 56 nets you the Primaris Ancient, which is usually only available in Dark Imperium, an Inceptor, and a bunch of other Intercessors. 65 has a couple of the characters from Betrayal at Calth, a regular non-Primaris Chaplain, and a Cataphracti Terminator Captain. 67 has some discounted Sniper Scouts, and 72 is a very cheap way to get Chaos Spawn at £4 per model, instead of the usual £12.50. Finally, to round off the series, they had the Space Marine Repulsor on sale. That was split over 4 issues, so that was £32, but still a hefty discount on what you can get normally. And another one of their better terrain pieces, the Galvanic Magnavent, again split across 2 issues, but a hefty decrease on what you can buy it for from Games Workshop. So I'm sorry for talking through a lot of things that you can't actually buy at the moment, but I think it's just worth being aware that these were available in Conquest issues, so occasionally you might be able to find them for sale on eBay for a bit cheaper than normal, and perhaps more importantly, to be aware that if they do have a restock Hachette part works in terms of the back issues of Conquest, then if you had a burning desire to pick up any of these miniatures, you should absolutely jump on it as fast as possible before they all sell out. In the meantime, I'm surprised at just how many good deals still remain on the site, such as the Attack Bikes, Redemptor, Aggressors, and the Reivers and Leadbelcher. They've got plenty more besides this, but I felt that they were the best of the bunch. If you want to check them out, I will put the link down to the Hachette Part Works UK website down in the description below. I'm very much not affiliated with them and don't get anything for you doing that, but I thought it was just worth passing on a good deal. If I've missed anything important to note in Warhammer Conquest, or any other ways that we can potentially get these things, then I'm all ears and I'll have a look down in the comments below. Fingers crossed that at some stage they either have another run of it, or they bring it over to the Americas, who haven't yet had a chance to buy any. Thanks very much for listening to another Auspex Tactics video. If you'd like to see more like this, then feel free to subscribe. We have regular 40k buying advice type videos, although most of the content is mainly tactics for in-game. If you'd like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon page, which is what allows me to spend the time making these videos, so if you've been enjoying or they're helping save you money at all, then any support is greatly appreciated, then again the link is down in the description below. In any case, a big thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.